Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about sewing machines. Specifically, I'm going to be reviewing two machines that are marketed as heavy-duty sewing machines. I know a lot of people struggle with which sewing machine they're going to buy when they first start getting into making their own clothing. Hopefully this video will provide some insight into what makes a sewing machine heavy duty and capable of sewing a wide variety of projects. If you're new here, my name's Rebecca. I love making videos about sewing, knitting, all things slow fashion. So if those are also interests of yours, please do consider hitting the subscribe button below. And let's go ahead and get into the sewing machine reviews. So the two sewing machines that I'm going to be reviewing today are the Feiyue E350 and the Singer 4452. The E350 was very kindly sent to me to review, and I'm really looking forward to unboxing that with you here in a minute. And the Singer 4452 is the machine that I bought for myself a few years ago. I wanted to compare them because I think they have a lot of similar features, and I'm really interested in how the E350 kind of rates in comparison to the Singer model. I'm going to start by unboxing the E350 and getting into some of the details, some of the features of this specific machine. Then I will do some tests. I want to see how many layers of denim it can sew through. I want to make a buttonhole. I want to do a little bit of testing out of the machine, and then I will compare it to the Singer that I currently have and kind of see how they rate. So let's go ahead and open up my new machine. The E350 is a heavy-duty, beginner-friendly sewing machine that has a lot of really cool features. It has 23 different stitch patterns. It has an automatic buttonhole function with this buttonhole foot, which is really important. It also has an automatic needle threader, if that's a feature that you like to use. And the interior is an entirely metal frame, which makes it really durable and long-lasting. The servo motor is incredibly fast and also incredibly quiet. It's meant to be more energy efficient than traditional sewing machine motors, and initial impressions, this feels like a really heavy-duty machine. I wanted to show you the E350 here next to my Singer. There are a couple of small differences, but overall I think the machines from the outside are very similar in their form and function. I will note that the thread is not recessed as it is on the Singer, where you have your main thread kind of near that handle and then your secondary thread on the post at the side. The E350 actually has two posts, so I go ahead and click in the second one here. It did come with two, and I didn't think to click both in, but you put your main thread on the first and your secondary thread on the second one. It threads in a very similar way to the Singer. All of the components, like the presser foot and the dials, the bobbin arrangement, everything feels really solid and really comparable to my Singer. So here I'm just testing out for the first time a straight stitch on, this is about a mid-weight wool. I just wanted to get an impression of the machine, and my first impression, I actually said it out loud, it's so quiet. It really is, and I know it might be hard to compare the audio of the two next to each other. I will do my best to give you a little sampling of how each of these machines sound, but initial impression is that it stitches really, really smoothly and it's very quiet. I try a couple of the different stitch patterns here just to get familiar with the machine, and it stitches really evenly. It's going through a couple layers of wool here with no problem. This was 2 layers, and then I double it over again to have 4 layers. Again, absolutely no problem getting through a thicker fabric, no skip stitches or anything like that. It's running really, really smoothly. So here I'm going to try a 12-ounce denim, and I start with 2 just to get an impression of how it's going to handle the denim. Unsurprisingly, after the wool, it went through it incredibly smoothly. So here I'm going to go ahead and do another layer of denim, and I'm just going to slowly increase the layers of denim that I put through the machine in order to test how many layers of fabric this machine can get through. So here again, I'm adding another couple layers. No problem whatsoever. Really straight, really even stitches, no skip stitches. And I'm showing you here, I think we're at 8 layers, and it's a really, really thick amount. I had no problem getting the needle through, and I should also note that this is not a denim needle. This is just the standard needle that came in the package of the machine, and so I was really, really impressed with how smoothly this handled. It had no issue whatsoever getting through a lot of fabric, as much as I could fit under the presser foot. Now I'm going to try the automatic buttonhole function. So I'm taking off the initial foot and I'm putting on the buttonhole foot that came in the little accessories kit with the machine. And I'm going to do this on 2 layers of denim. Typically you'll have at least that much if you're putting a buttonhole in a waistband or something like that. So I wanted to test kind of a mid-weight scenario. So I'm just switching the dials here to the buttonhole function, and I'm making my stitch width wider. And then you pull down this little lever and then push it forwards, and then you just go. And it stitches the buttonhole completely for you. I'm just pressing my foot down on the pedal and it's doing all of this without pause, which is really cool and really convenient. And for the first buttonhole, I'm very, very impressed. Typically when I do buttonholes for jeans, I'll go over it twice, and this is just once, but you can see it looks super even and clean. So here I'm testing a few of the other stitch patterns on the denim that I hadn't tried on the wool. And they're all really even. I was really, really impressed with how smoothly the fabric feeds through the machine, with how smoothly it got through so much fabric. Overall, just like very, very impressed with the performance of this machine. On my Singer as well, we're just kind of comparing how well it gets through the thicker fabrics. And it does get through the same amount of layers, so I think I stopped at around the 8 layer of fabric mark. Again, just the sheer amount of space that's under the presser foot, I put as much fabric as I could under there, and I think we got through 8 layers with this machine as well. So a couple of other things to note about both machines. Both the E350 and the Singer 4452, you can remove this part of the machine in order to have access to a kind of a tighter area. So say you're sewing a sleeve cuff or something like that, they both detach. The E350 does have a larger plastic surface area, whereas the Singer, the metal extends over to the right a little bit more. Okay, so I have just shown you some footage of both machines. I did a little bit of a thickness test with how easily the machine got through denim, things like that. I did a buttonhole, and honestly, overall, I'm really, really impressed. The E350 is an incredibly smooth and quiet machine. I don't know if I'll be able to feature that in the footage. Hopefully, I caught some audio of both of the machines stitching, but the E350 is significantly more quiet than the Singer machine. I also would argue that it might stitch a little bit more smoothly. When doing the buttonhole and when going through thick layers of denim, I felt like there was no struggle, no pause whatsoever, and the stitches were all super even. I know from experience that my Singer can get through thicker fabrics, but it doesn't often do it incredibly smoothly. I have had to do a lot of hand cranking with my Singer when doing top stitching on like jeans and jackets over areas where there's a lot of fabric. I've had skipped stitches and stuff, and I've had to hand crank over the thicker areas before. So I'm keen to try a full jeans or jacket project with the E350. But from my initial impressions today, I would be very surprised if it struggled. The motor seems to be really powerful, and I'm just so surprised with how smooth and quiet it is. So I'm being completely honest here. I was gifted the E350, however, under no obligation to say anything in particular about it. They asked me to give a really honest review, and I'm very, very impressed. I would definitely recommend the E350 model. The price point is actually a little bit better as well. The Singer Heavy Duty is a little bit more expensive than the 350, and I'm gonna have to sew some bigger projects from start to finish to be able to tell you, 100% which I prefer. But from today's unboxing and testing of the basic features of the 350, I'm actually really, really impressed. And I would highly rate this machine to a beginner who's considering it. On Amazon in the US is, I don't know if it'll focus on that for you. So there's the current model that I have, and the price point in the US is $159.99. I don't know if that's going to focus for you. Hopefully that'll focus for you. The 4452 is $199 or $200. So the E350 is a little bit more affordable, and I would argue just as good, if not better, than the Singer. Again, I've had the Singer for a few years, and I have a lot of experience with it. I have had challenges with it, but it has worked well for me, and I sew all of my own jeans and jackets and things like that, and I've been able to do it. As I said, I have had times when I've had to use the hand cranking of the needle to get it over thicker areas. So yes, I'm keen to sew a pair of pants or a jacket out of a denim or canvas, something heavier, with the E350 to kind of compare after doing a whole project, and I can update you on that in another video. But as for today, with my first impressions, very impressed, very, very cool machine. I'm very grateful that I was gifted this machine, and hopefully my review of it is helpful to you. If you're a beginner, I know myself, I started sewing on a machine that is marketed towards home sewists, but not as marketed as a heavy duty machine. So my first machine was probably around the $80 US mark, and I didn't have any problem with it when sewing cotton and linen, but it would not make me a pair of jeans. I chose to buy the Singer Heavy Duty when I really got into working with denim and thicker fabrics. I'm currently working on a couple of wool projects with thicker fabric as well. So if you're in that position where you have maybe a hand-me-down machine or a really inexpensive one that you purchased to try sewing and you're hooked and you want to level up and get a more heavy-duty sewing machine, I think that the E350 at around $160 is a really, really good value for money. As I keep saying, I'm so impressed with this machine. I wasn't familiar with the brand before they reached out to me, but very, very impressed. I would definitely recommend this machine if you're looking to get a heavy duty model. I do think it's a heavy duty machine. It's very heavy itself physically, and so I know all of the internal structure is metal, which is really important. And yeah, this was really fun. I hope it was interesting to watch. I'm really excited now to start a new project. I want to make something to really test the limits of this machine, and I will be sure to get back with you on the results of that endeavor. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that this was helpful, and if you are new to the brand as well, I definitely would recommend it. Worth checking out. Very pleased with the quality, and if you, like myself, sometimes are sewing when your little ones are napping, it's very quiet. So it's definitely a machine that you could use if you're sewing while little ones are sleeping. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one very, very soon.